Hi Coral,
Hi.
congratulations on the release of Russia. Can you
Thank
tell
you.
us something about this book, the title and the story of the book?
See, the story is a love triangle
Mm-hmm.
between a Tamil orphan, uh, his Bengali wife, and a student who is based in Manhattan. So she's an NRI. And all three are Bharatanatyam dancers, and this is about how an ancient Indian art actually helps them understand or rediscover their interpersonal relationships. Rasia is actually it's actually a word for, you can say, a man who is an object of desire.
So why have you chosen a man as your object of desire? It's very different because when we talk about object of desire, normally in literature, in cinema, in psychology, it's always a woman who's the object of desire. How come man become an object of desire in your imagination that you put in this book?
I have tried to break a few myths through this book.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, a few of them are related to Bharatanatyam as a format as well,
Mm-hmm.
because I see people believing that the men who are into Bharatanatyam are effeminate, or artists are often looked at in that from that perspective, that if you have nothing else to do and if you are a failure in life, you take upon art, which is very, very wrong.
Right.
There are people who don't consider B Fine as an art course. They feel that it's a valid graduation course. B Fine, M Fine, these are bachelor and master's degrees. But there are mindsets who think that those are just non-academic things that you do when you have nothing else to pursue. So these are a few things that the book has, in a very subtle way, dealt with. But man as an object of desire, I felt that I tried to look at it from that perspective instead of a woman. A woman has been explored in this particular space, but we are often shy about talking about a man in that way, or we don't think of. But what if he is? What if he is the kind of object of desire for the people whose life he is constantly impacting, influencing?
So basically, through this book, you kind of defy boundaries. You do not define, but you defy boundaries. There aren't any such boundaries that, okay, only women has to be object of desire, it could be anyone. So, but why have you chosen Bharatanatyam? As you said, it's kind of a dance that, but why Bharatanatyam? And did you understand, are you a dancer, or have you done some research to take up this theme in the book on dancing?
I'm not a Bharatanatyam dancer. I have never been trained, but I love it. I mean, I feel that Bharatanatyam it's a ravishing self-transformation. When you are on stage, I have seen a lot of performances. I still see. I have been exposed to this art form as a viewer, as an audience. And when I see those people on stage, the way they do their hands, the thumping of feet, it's very heavenly. And this particular story actually comes from my love for that art form. And I do believe that art is actually it's a powerhouse of emotions if you are open to receive those. So that is the genesis of this book.
That's a very, very beautiful idea that you've put forth. So tell us something about the process of writing, the production and writing and production of this book. Because there are many people who want to take up something, some unknown. They want to get into unknown territories. But what happens? They fear so much that they get they boil into writing the very similar kind of story, very kind of stock stories of lovers or meeting up or parting. So can you tell something about, because you have taken up a new subject. So what was the process of writing and production of this book? That would be fascinating for us to know.
See, when I started writing, I had just a man's character in mind, not a story, just a character who would be extremely attractive, and a character who would be extremely flawed, and a space where that flaw also becomes an attraction. He has taken himself to that level, where his flaws are looked upon as his experiments, and people start loving him to the extent that they even start falling in love with his flaws and treat those as absolute qualities of that personality. So I had this kind of a character in mind who is self-obsessed, who is arrogant, who is also loving, and who has some kind of a void in his mind, in his heart, which he is trying to fulfill. And he is just ruthlessly taking himself forward without looking around. So I started creating this character. Not creating, the character was already created. I don't know who created it, but it was already created. I started writing about him, and while writing the first chapter itself, his wife, his meeting with his wife, which is very interesting, my perspective. I feel that the meeting was very interesting. So that came forth. And by the end of 4th or 5th chapter, I felt that this story needs a third character, and it's probably the third person who will be the main catalyst, who will drive this story more than the protagonists would. So that's how I wrote the book, and after writing I felt that what I wrote was not doing justice. So I changed the format, chucked out certain portions, added new portions, brought out things that I had written later in front, and did all kinds of permutation possible. And this process kept repeating. I mean, I had
that's
worked on
why
it.
Gulzar Sahab says that this is a very well choreographed book.
Yeah, I mean, I
Because you
took
had
3
to-
years to only write. I didn't even speak to the publishers for 3 years. I just wrote. And after 3 years of writing, when I started approaching publishers, 2 said no. They didn't say it was a bad book. They said that they haven't thought about this kind of a marketing. They don't probably. It
Have
would
market for
require
this
a
kind of
different.
a word.
Yeah, it would require a different kind of marketing, and they were not confident about it. So there was another person, a well-known literary person, who said that Bharatnatyam नहीं बिकेगा, कहीं नहीं ये
That's true.
ना कोई छपेगा ना कोई पढ़ना चाहेगा. But I didn't believe. I mean, I had written the story with all my heart, and I can tell you that this is the best that I have written till now, and this is the best that I'll ever write.
So you'll be satisfied with the work.
Not just satisfied. I know that this is one plot that I have cracked as an author. मैं शायद इसके बाद और भी I might write more books, but I'll never write something better than this. I know that this is the height
That
of
conviction. with which
yeah.
you
This is my creative best that I have put in, and I'll never be able to crack a better plot. So I believed in it, and eventually it had to happen with Rupa, and it happened with Rupa, and I am very, very indebted to the kind of editorial attention it has got. I mean, the first confidence that you get is from the publisher,
That's true.
because
That's
the editor is the third person who reads your book.
That's
He is your first audience.
Right.
And the kind of reaction that I got from them, the kind of attention that my manuscript has got from them, itself had multiplied my confidence to many levels. Which say that this was not crap.
It's very heartening to know about your confidence and this kind of subject, and I'm sure people are going to love this book. Heartiest congratulations,
Thank
and
you so much.
wish you good luck with the book.
Thank you so much.